Mercedes has been having a tough time in the last 2 seasons, and many people think it hasn't been good. People are talking a lot about Mercedes' performance, wondering if they are getting better, getting worse, or maybe holding back on purpose. Every time they do a bit better, everyone in the media goes crazy. But sadly, things haven't gotten much better for Mercedes. It looks like they're facing problems that are bothering them, and these problems might stick around for the new season. Even the people in the team who usually stay really determined seem unsure. To make things better in the upcoming season, Mercedes could try figuring out and fixing the issues that are bringing them down. Maybe they need to change some strategies or improve certain parts of their cars. They also might need to boost the morale and confidence of the team to help everyone work together better. Overall, it's about finding what's not working and making smart changes so Mercedes can have a stronger and happier season ahead. Helmut Marko from Red Bull has strong opinions about the next year, hinting that Red Bull might be in a good spot already. In sports, being fully committed is super important. If you're not, your performance can take a hit. This is true for F1 too. Your mindset before the race matters as much as when you're on the track. Lewis Hamilton, a huge champion, shared in an interview that he's been having a tough time feeling confident about his position in the sport. He's been wondering if the problems are because of him or the car, having moments where he doubts himself. Even though he's been trying to boost his confidence during the season, it seems like there are some cracks showing up in Hamilton's self-belief. For Red Bull, it looks like they might have an advantage next year, according to Helmut Marko. But seeing Hamilton question himself is just sad, seeing he has won the best out there. This mental side of things is a big deal in F1, and it'll be interesting to see how both Red Bull and Hamilton tackle these challenges in the upcoming season. Lewis was managing brake issues throughout the race, which was a real reliability concern, head of strategy Rosie Waite said in a video released by the team. So our #1 priority was making sure that we got that car to the finish and didn't have to retire it. That will have affected his performance to varying degrees throughout the race and is something that we are certainly working on to improve for next year's car. Hamilton, despite still having the skills to win races, has people wondering how much longer he'll deal with these tough times. In the last media talk of the season, he seemed really down after a difficult weekend, making folks worry about how he's feeling. But in an interview with BBC Sport, Hamilton said he's not thinking about retiring just yet. He mentioned a new determination in the team, a clear direction, or a North Star, after dealing with uncertainties for the past 2 years. Yet, there are hurdles in making big changes because of things like the cost cap and other factors. Hamilton believes that the key to getting better is by changing how the team works and making smarter decisions. He had issues feeling heard or understood by Mike Elliott, but now that Elliott is not around, Hamilton sees a chance for improvements. It looks like the team's attitude, especially in dealing with problems from the previous year, is starting to shift in a positive direction. So even though Hamilton's had a tough time recently, he's not ready to quit. He sees hope for improvement in the team's new direction and wants changes in how things are done. The team's attitude is changing for the better, and Hamilton is optimistic about what's to come in the future races. Mercedes had a tough season, and even though they managed to grab the 2nd spot in the Constructors' Championship, it's not good enough for a team used to winning 8 times in a row. Toto Wolff, the big boss, is sure Mercedes can break the recent pattern of not winning, but he didn't say exactly when that might happen. He knows that having predictable race outcomes is risky and wants things to get better. Mercedes team boss Toto Wolff is feeling a mix of emotions after the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. While he's glad they secured a solid P2 in the constructors' standings after a tough fight with Ferrari, the pain of missing out on P1 is still fresh in his mind. Despite achieving P2 in 2023, Toto is uncertain about whether there's cause for celebration. Winning 2nd place reminds him of losing the top spot, making it a bittersweet moment. Looking ahead to 2024, Toto acknowledges the uphill battle they face to catch up with Red Bull. He's not optimistic about closing the gap, and he sees other teams like McLaren and possibly Aston Martin as threats. Toto emphasizes the need for relentless effort and attention to detail in their operations at Brackley and EL. While celebrating P2 is challenging for Toto, It's also seen as an opportunity to bounce back and aim for greatness. However, the internal team dynamics add another layer of complexity. In Abu Dhabi, there was a notable performance difference between Hamilton and Russell. Russell outperformed Hamilton, qualifying 4th and finishing 3rd, while Hamilton struggled, qualifying 11th and finishing 9th. Toto Wolff finds it perplexing to comprehend the significant performance swings between drivers, not only in Mercedes but also across other teams like Ferrari, McLaren, and Red Bull. He points out that tire grip, particularly with Pirelli tires, plays a crucial role. Toto mentions the challenge of finding the right setup for the tires, and if a team misses the sweet spot, performance can drop dramatically. He uses examples from the weekend, citing Carlos Sainz and Charles Leclerc, George Russell and Lewis Hamilton, and even the Red Bull duo of Sergio Perez and Max Verstappen. Wolff notes that Verstappen seems to have mastered driving consistently on these tires throughout the season. He expresses frustration at the lack of understanding regarding the performance fluctuations and acknowledges that they should have done better. This year was kind of a low point for Mercedes, with the fewest points in 10 years and no wins at all, something that hasn't happened since 2011. So getting back into the competition for the title next year is a big challenge. But there's hope because they're planning some serious changes for the W15 car, aiming for a fresh start. The plan is to change nearly everything in the W15, like a kill or cure method. Toto Wolff knows there might be mistakes, but he thinks it's necessary to take a big step and compete at the front again. So, even though this season was hard for Mercedes, they're not settling for second place, and they're working hard to make their car better and more competitive for the upcoming races. Helmut Marko's statement suggests that Red Bull's driver, Max Verstappen, has reached an unmatched level of performance. This poses a challenge for other teams, indicating that having a competitive car might not be enough if a driver's skill is exceptional. When asked whether Mercedes will be in a position to challenge come the start of 2024, Hamilton responded, "I don't really know." For Red Bull to win by 17 seconds in the end, and they haven't developed their car since August, is definitely a concern. But we've learned a lot about the car, and it's just down to the team now. They know what they need to do. Whether or not we'll get there, we'll see. Mercedes is having a tough time lately, and Red Bull is doing really well. McLaren, though, is working hard to challenge the champions. Lando Norris from McLaren thinks they're getting closer to being as good as Red Bull. He says Red Bull has an amazing car, and Max Verstappen, their driver, is super good competition. In a nutshell, Mercedes is struggling, and people are worried about how they're doing. Even though Lewis Hamilton really wants to win, there's a question about whether the team can come back strong. The next season is going to be tricky, but there's some hope because Mercedes is making big changes to their car. Red Bull, with Max Verstappen driving so well, is still a tough opponent, and McLaren is pushing hard to compete at a higher level. So it's a challenging time for Mercedes, but they're not giving up, and other teams like McLaren are trying to step up and give the champions a run for their money. And that's it for the video, folks. Make sure to like, subscribe, and click on the notification bell to stay updated. Thanks for watching. Bye.